The data just came out for July 2026, and the Toronto real estate market did something shocking. Now, if you've watched my previous videos, I've said that prices would not drop below the peak of 2017.
I don't think we're ever going to see prices go below the peak of 2017.
Well, July 2026 data just came out, and for freehold homes in Toronto, July prices, the average was lower than the average sale price in the peak of 2017. So what does that mean? In almost 10 years, if you bought property at the peak of 2017 and you held it to today, you would have lost money. And that's not even counting inflation. Now, a dollar today in 2026 only buys you about 79 cents worth of goods in 2017. So if you bought a freehold in Toronto in 2017 and held it to today, you would have to have that property be valued at around 1.268 million just to keep up with inflation. So if numbers are at or below the 27 peak, well, not only have you not made money, you've lost money because of inflation. If you're looking at those average numbers, you're looking at an inflation-adjusted real return of minus 21%. Crazy. Oh, by the way, some food for thought. If you would have put $1 million into the stock market in 2017, you'd have about 3.84 million today. Now remember, before you guys freak out, I am just talking about the average sale price in the city of Toronto. Toronto is huge. There are freehold properties everywhere, so it really depends on the neighborhood. There are some neighborhoods where I would never advise someone to buy just because maybe the homes are old or the neighborhood's not safe, and that's why, as an average, freehold prices have come down. Now, there are certain neighborhoods where prices have actually appreciated. For example, I was just helping a set of buyers buy in the east end of Toronto, in Leslieville, and every property we were looking at was in a bidding war. And the list price to sales price ratio is actually above 100%. So as an average, it's lower than the peak, but there are certain neighborhoods that are worth more. Okay, so let's dive deeper into the data. We're gonna look at sales price, and we're gonna look at the average sales price for freehold homes. That means freehold means you own the land and the building, and we are going to limit it to the city of Toronto. I'm not gonna put any other filters. I just wanna look at it from a high level. So let's generate, customize. We're looking at the last 10 years, and instead of median, let's do close price average. And here you go. This is the average sales price in 2017, 1.419 million. And here it is in July, 1.39 million. A little tough to digest that chart, so let's look at it this way. The data will be more easily digestible. Look at the peak, right? 1.436, 1.43, basically the low 1.4s in 2017 for freeholds. Now we're at 1.39 for July. It's August 5th right now, the date of recording, so we are below that peak. Now it did drop below that peak this January and even last December, but I thought to myself, small sample size, not that many people are buying around Christmas time, so let's wait. And then the market did pick up in the spring. But now that it's below in July, that is very, very interesting. Okay, so very high level, that was just average for residential freehold. What happens if we also include condos? Because we know Toronto has a lot of condos. So I'm going to include condos with freeholds, and this may surprise you. Again, 10 years, average closed price, no other filters in terms of number of bedrooms, age, things like that. Interesting, we're actually above the peak of 2017 if you include condos. I thought the condo market was plummeting. Interesting. The peak, if you include all residential real estate types, 942, April 2017, and we are still over a million as of July 2026. We're going to run that search again. We're just going to look at freeholds now, but we're going to include the entire GTA. That means Toronto and the 4 surrounding regions. So let's include Durham, York, Peel, and Halton. What do we have here? Current prices, although they've dropped still from the peak of 2022, because that was a crazy time, we are still above the peak of 2017. So my prediction, we're not wrong. That prediction is not wrong yet. 1.2 million, obviously the trend is still down, but the peak was 1.13 million, and we're at 1.2, so we're still above that peak if you include the entire GTA. And if you include condos here as well, same thing. We are still above the peak, which was around 930, and now we're at a million. So we have not dropped below that peak yet if you include the entire Greater Toronto area, which is massive. If you've ever driven from one side to the other, it's massive and it feels like 20 different countries, right? So what does all this mean? Well, as an average, homes outside of the city of Toronto in the surrounding regions are holding their value slightly better than homes in the city of Toronto. And if you look at a lot of American cities, they're kind of doing the same thing, right? You drive into a downtown core of an American city, property prices aren't that good, maybe it's a little sketchy, but you drive 30, 40, 50 minutes away outside into the suburbs, well, that's where the real middle class is. And Toronto is kind of following the same pattern. Now remember, this is an average. Some neighborhoods in Toronto are doing exceptionally well. And if you want to know exactly how much your home is worth, or if you want to get a better understanding of what different neighborhoods in the GTA are doing, feel free to book a no obligation call with our team. I'll put the link below in the description. Okay, so Toronto freehold homes have dipped below the peak of 2017 as an average. Now, why is the real estate market so bearish here in Toronto? To answer that question, we have to think, what determines the price of a home? And what determines it is how much buyers are willing to offer or buy it for. And what determines that? Well, yes, it's how much cash they have on hand, but for the most part, it's bought with debt, right? How much of a mortgage can the buyer get? In other words, how much of a loan will the bank give that buyer? And that is dependent on the buyer's income. And there's an elephant in the room for all of humanity right now, and it's automation. Now, I've done a lot of jobs in my career. Right out of university, I worked at Deloitte as an auditor. I worked right downtown on Bay Street, auditing some of Canada's biggest financial corporations, including RBC, Brookfield, Morgan Stanley, Wealthsimple, Allstate Insurance, just to name a few. And your job as an auditor is to basically go into the client office, right, and kind of see what are they doing and interact with the finance department, because you needed information to audit their financial statements. And at that time, I was thinking to myself, not only could my job as an auditor, and this was like 10, 12 years ago, not only could my job be automated very easily, but pretty much every job that I was looking at these companies in the finance department could also be automated. This was 10, 12 years ago, guys. It's even more true today. Now, I also worked in the startup space in the tech industry as a software engineer. And if you worked in the startup space, you'll know that you have to wear a lot of hats. So I started as a front-end engineer. I also did back-end, DevOps, payments, API integration, UI, UX design, product management. You gotta wear a lot of hats, so I did it all. And now with the advent of AI, all of these jobs can be automated. I have a lot of friends in the tech space still, and they're like, this AI has gone crazy, you would not believe it. Just look at Stack Overflow, the number of users, it's plummeted off a cliff. No one uses it anymore because AI can code itself, right? That's crazy to think about. That means less tech jobs, less finance jobs. Basically, any job that's admin or on a screen can be automated right now in real time. Even I've had some friends in the public sector working for the government, and even these folks are saying to me, I'm pretty sure there's going to be massive layoffs. A lot of companies are doing layoffs. The public sector is doing layoffs. Basically, there's no job that is safe from either layoffs or automation. Now, blue collar workers might have the last laugh, but even them, I've seen some of these videos of robots, and it's like, these robots are going to be doing your roof soon. So blue collar workers might not last as well. So every job, it's a societal problem, guys. Every job can be basically automated. And if every job is automated, how does that affect real estate prices? Well, will the banks loan money to someone if their income is at risk? Or will a buyer even think about getting an $800 million mortgage if they know they might lose their job in the short term? That's what's affecting real estate prices, and AI has happened way faster. This automation factor has happened way faster than I thought. It's getting really good. So that's what's affecting the home prices here in the city and maybe in the country and the world as a whole. Even hedge funds have turned their most bearish position on the Canadian dollar in 2 years. Check out this graph. Now, a lot of it has to do with what I mentioned, problems with the economy, but I don't want to go into it too much. But hello, remember, there's still tariffs, US tariffs. And who's our biggest purchaser of goods in Canada? I think 3/4 of all Canadian exports go to America, and they are tariffing pretty much everything, or they're threatening to tariff even more. And that has had a tremendously negative effect on the Canadian economy as well. Maybe that's why hedge funds are shorting the Canadian dollar. Okay, so kind of pessimistic take, right? The job market's not looking good. The economy is not looking good. The dollar's not looking good. Geopolitical factors aren't looking good. So then, why is a house in Toronto, a starter house, still worth at least $1 million? And the reason for that is homes are bought with debt. Now, Canada is the most indebted country out of any other country in the G7. Take a look at this chart. We are number 2 in terms of household debt as a percentage of GDP. We're coming for you, Switzerland. Canada's going to win at something. Let's go. Keep it up, guys. Now, this is 2024. It's probably even worse now, right? In 2026. And also, take a look at this. This is super interesting. Directly from CMHC's website. You can download this and take a look at it yourselves. It's super fascinating. Canada Mortgage Housing Corporation. It literally shows you all the public debts for every Canadian city. And look at Toronto. They break it down by mortgage, HELOC, all that. Look at this. I don't even know how big this number is. Is that 430 billion? All of Canada is 1.9 trillion. Is that even... These numbers are so big that I don't even know if I'm saying them right. Mortgages, 431 billion. HELOC, 51 billion. Line of credit, 10 billion. Auto loan, 13 billion. Credit cards, 23 billion. All other credit, 22 billion. Maybe that's student loans or whatever, but that's a lot of debt. These are big numbers, guys. So everyone needs a home. 40 million Canadians, 7 million in the GTA. They just did a census. We might see that number is even higher. And that's the reason why prices for a starter home in Toronto is still $1 million. Because remember, buyers are not competing with other buyers based on how much cash they have. Buyers are competing with other buyers for how much or how big of a mortgage they're willing to take on. That's the system. So where do we go from here? Do prices go up? Do they go down? Well, that's the $64,000 question, isn't it? And it's a very difficult question to answer because there's too many unknown variables in real estate that are outside of our control. For example, how many people do they bring into the country? Which political party is in power? How many new homes do they build? What are geopolitical factors doing? What do they do with interest rates? And a big one, this one to keep an eye out for, everybody, what are they going to do with the foreign buyer ban that is set to expire January 1st, 2027? gun to my head, I still think that although prices have dropped significantly, for the GTA as a whole, average prices will not drop below 2017. Money's worthless, too many people, not enough homes. I know that the city of Toronto, in terms of freehold homes, has broken that rule, but I think as the GTA as a whole, I'm doubling down on my prediction, we will not dip below 2017 numbers. Now, I know I talked a lot about automation and how that affects the housing market, because think about it, if you buy a house, you're signing up for a 25, 30-year mortgage. You think automation might affect your job in 30 years? There might be UBI or something, right? That's going to affect the entire economy, the entire housing market. We are approaching a singularity, and something unprecedented is about to happen. But for now, the show goes on. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.